Once upon a time, long, long ago, even before America was a land of its own. It was September 5th, 1774, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Thus, the First Continental Congress was called to order. Famous patriots came together, including John Adams, Samuel Adams, George Washington, and Patrick Henry, in order to formulate a plan of action. Patrick Henry once said, "Give me liberty or give me death." The men knew at this point that war with Great Britain was inevitable. It was just a matter of time before war broke out. Then on the night of April 18th, 1775, Paul Revere took the midnight ride on a horse from Charlestown to Lexington, warning them. 2 months later, war broke out again in what was the bloodiest battle of the American Revolution. June 17th, 1775, the Battle of Bunker Hill struck. It took the Redcoats 3 tries, but they finally took the hill from the colonists, but at the cost of 40% of the assault force. It may have been technically a win for Great Britain, but it was a moral victory for the colonists. Nearly a year later, in January 1776, this colonial conflict still appeared only to be a civil war, but after Thomas Paine's Common Sense was published, it abruptly put independence on the agenda. This pamphlet gained momentum for 6 months, and then the Declaration of Independence was written by Thomas Jefferson, officially stating the colonies were to break off from Great Britain for good. The war went on, and it came to George Washington having to abandon New York City and was driven across New Jersey by the British. But then George Washington struck right back on Christmas night. Washington and the Continental Army crossed the Delaware River, surprising the Hessians at Trenton at dawn, and took 9,000 prisoners. American triumph at Trenton and the Battle of Princeton roused the new country and kept the struggle for independence alive. A year passed, October 14th, 1777. British General John Burgoyne finally surrendered at the Battle of Saratoga. This was a major win for the colonists and the turning point of the war for the future Americans. The dreadful but effective Washington winters begun. From December 19th, 1977 to June 19th, 1778, Washington and 11,000 regulars took up winter quarters at Valley Forge. The reorganized Continental Army emerged the following June as a well-disciplined and effective fighting force. Assistance finally came as well. On February 6, 1778, France and the United States formed an alliance. France had secretly been supplying finances and materials from 1776 at the very beginning of the war, but now, in 1778, France was finally declaring war officially and publicly on Great Britain. It was September 1780 now, an unfortunate turn of the tide. A colonist general, Benedict Arnold, betrayed America. He conspired with the British to surrender the fort at West Point, though Arnold got caught and then ran to the other side. Time went on, the war began closing in, and America had almost finally won. Although Lord Cornwallis took on one last stance as the last hope for Great Britain, all the remaining British forces joined together at Yorktown in preparation for what would be the final battle. Washington's army and a force under the French Count de Rochambeau placed Yorktown under siege. As a result, Cornwallis surrendered his army of more than 7,000 men on October 19th, 1780. The war is over and America has won. Sanctioned on September 3rd, 1783 by the Treaty of Paris, the colonists were prosperous and now have their independence. This was just the beginning of America's everlasting reign. The end.